Hello again! I'm doing another character design challenge. Like the one I did for Ben 10, I am designing a character kind of Twisted Wonderland style based on Star from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. That's a tongue twister and I'm going to struggle to say that name every time. For this character, I'm not trying to make like an AU version of Star or like a gender version of Star, but rather his own character that is heavily inspired from and derived from Star. So it's supposed to be kind of his own presence, but with visible influences from the character that he's inspired from. I decided to go with the name Astra. I think that's cute. Kind of has that same kind of star-esque theming. For this character design, I really had a challenge with the color palette. Star's color palette is just all bright colors. There are no neutrals in there, and that's rough for me. I pretty much usually, when I have a character, will have mostly like grays, blacks, and whites, and then have like pops of color, like usually like one or two colors that stand out on that more neutral palette. So to have just no neutrals whatsoever was a real challenge. Star's design is really chaotic too, just in general. So I tried to do a few things. Like I ended up foregoing the like monster shoes because while they're fun, I don't think really added anything, at least to my design. I also, instead of like the devil horns, I decided to give him very kind of like spiked upward hair. Kind of like, because Star's hair is also kind of messy and frizzy, and then also kind of gives that kind of spiky silhouette like the demon horn like gives, I guess. I pulled the little star from her purse onto his shirt because it's just so stupid looking. I love it. So I wanted to keep that motif in there. For things like the little hearts on her cheeks, I decided to put it as like a little hair clip. Just to kind of keep that in there without just, doing the same thing as her design. For the tights, I liked the stripes that her like tights added. I decided to put it on his like wrists and ankles as the form of like little fingerless gloves and socks because I thought having it in all four of those places balances it a little bit more. I also put that dark red there as kind of a different value from the pastels that are all kind of in that same value range. I think that's probably my biggest gripe with my final design, is a lot of my values are very samey. If I played with it a little longer, I'd probably mess with the values of the colors like that and try and vary it a little bit more. For Astra's like power, because for the series I wanted all the characters to have like a singular power that is derived from the show without just kind of being whatever power the character had in the show. Since the wand is kind of the most iconic piece of giving him like generic magic, though, I decided to have his power isolated to the wand itself, with the like ability to transform it into whatever he pleases, basically. So like in the character sheet, I have it like transformed into a bat or a pen, or it could be like tennis racket or a taser, like whatever he wants it to become, he could transform it into, but it's kind of isolated to the wand itself. His personality I wanted to keep kind of very just full energy 100% of the time, kind of happy-go-lucky. I want him to be a little rowdier, a little kind of more rough and tumble. Always kind of getting into trouble for himself and for those around him. Like, very like the kid who you always see covered in like cuts and bruises, but like had the biggest smile on his face because he just is he's just having a good time, you know? Can't let that get him down. I think I'm ultimately pretty happy with how this character design turned out. I don't have a whole lot of gripes with it other than, like I said, the values. I did for his hair. I decided to keep him blonde like Star is. but have it so that like, he dyes his hair pink. But he's not good at maintaining the color, so the color is usually faded and has like the blonde roots coming through. I think that's cute. Kind of in character with his personality. I decided to pull the like seafoam green from Star's dress into like his shirt that he has over top of like the t-shirt. Have it a little desaturated. I desaturated most of the colors that I took from the palette because they're just a little too bright for me. I always tend to run more desaturated in my own palettes. For the wand itself, the season 1 one that I based it off more so has a lot of purple in it, but I didn't really touch into any purple in my design, so I decided to keep it more into the golds and the pinks to kind of keep it in line with his design. For me, I tend to like to keep palettes a little bit more limited. The more colors you start throwing into something, the more chaotic it ends up being, which is something I struggled in this too. There's a lot. There's two of those pinks on the side there are like the exact same pink, but like slightly different, which irks me to hell and back. Why aren't they just the same pink? You don't need two pinks. They're basically identical. Just let them be the same. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. It's funny when I record these voiceovers talking about the character designs because I have a lot of thoughts going through when I'm actually designing them, and I do a lot of things with intention, but then when I sit back here and watch the time-lapse back to like commentate over it, suddenly my head just goes blank and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I just put the colors together. I really, for a lot of the choices I made, put a lot of thought into like the actual weight distribution of like the visual weight. I wanted it still to be like visually pleasing to look at, which is kind of one of my complaints with some of the designs from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. But things like the stripes on the ankles and the hands with the darker reds there to kind of keep that weight down, and then contrast that with the same colors on the head. When I design a character, I like to have the weight distributed pretty evenly through the hands, the ankles, and the head to kind of create a little diamond shape. And then I use, because my art style is very exaggerated in its proportions, so that the hands and the feet tend to have a lot more weight, making my characters a lot more grounded. And then I'll have some sort of highlight, usually to the face, to draw your like attention to the face. At least that's usually the goal when I am designing characters like that. I think ultimately I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish with Astra. I think his design is for the most part balanced. Like I said, if I were to kind of re-tackle this, I'd definitely play a little bit more with some different like color tones to try to maybe make that a little bit more balanced. But I think for the most part it is visually pleasing. It's just outside of my comfort zone, which I think throws me a little bit. Especially like the Ben 10 one that I did prior to this, which the palettes were dark blacks and grays and then a bright green, which is just very much in my palette wheelhouse, to then hop over to just all the pastels and no neutrals. But I had a lot of fun with it. I think it turned out really cool. I really enjoyed doing this. This whole series I'm having a lot of fun with, and I'm definitely going to keep making more of these. If you have any suggestions of characters or shows that you think would be fun to tackle, I definitely have a few ideas myself for a few more. I want to do more of these. I think these are a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!